So James, I want to thank you first for talking with me today and reminiscing about years past. I want to ask you, what do you remember about the first time you put on that Dodger uniform?
Well, my first year was, with my spring training in 2002. And I remember just being there for about 2 weeks in big league camp. My first year, I was 18, and just seeing all the names that I saw, on TV growing up. It was so special, so fun. And then getting sent down to minor league camp was a whole new world with pretty much just peanut butter jelly sandwiches and water.
You eat better when you're in the bigs, that's for sure. What were some of the names that were around you at camp that year?
Yeah, I remember it was Sean Green, Brian Jordan, Hideo Nomo, Eric Gagne. I remember those guys, and who else? I think there was another big name guy there too. I'm trying to remember who it was, but no, it was just so much fun. And, they're the Dodgers, right? Like I was from Texas. Like I wasn't a Dodger fan, but I definitely knew about the history and I knew about the winning culture. So it was definitely a blast.
Do you remember your first hit at Dodger Stadium?
Oh yeah, nobody forgets their first hit. I faced John Smoltz. He
Oh,
walked me
that's huge.
first. Yeah,
Oh, he walked you. Okay.
yeah, he walked me, and then I got a hit off of him. So that definitely took off a lot of the pressure. Some of the guys they go a long time without getting their first hit, but I was lucky to get out, lucky to get it in my first game.
What about your first home run?
Yeah, my first home run was later in the season. I was up and down that year, so it was actually in September off of a relieving pitcher, and it was opposite field. So I was pretty proud of that. And I think it was a slider.
All right, so take me through your career with the Dodgers. You guys had a lot of personalities on those teams. Obviously, there's a lot of legends that surround that ball club that come around and they're at BP or they're at camp. Do you have any good stories that you can share with us?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's so many throughout the years, but obviously with Tommy Lasorda being there, and with his passing was obviously really sad, and him getting him being able to see them win the championship was great. I think him being in spring training, there were so many stories there where like he would just come out and yell at the umpire or get ejected, from a game. I remember him even in Florida when we were in spring training in Vero Beach. You would maybe catch him taking a nap in the third inning. We're like, Tommy, you better wake up. You don't want to catch a foul ball to the head. So I always felt like we had to have like security around him or something like that. Those are the things that I remember from him from spring training, and him telling you how to hit. Like, all right, you got to get your hands here and got to be ready for the ball. So he was special.
I mean, the stories around him are legendary. When you actually got to meet him and work with him on a day-to-day basis, were you surprised at the amount of involvement that he had and the amount of feedback that he'd have?
Yeah, I think I didn't really know what to expect. You definitely see him a lot in the clubhouse, or even at the games. Like you're on the on deck circle about to go up to hit, and he's giving you hitting tips. You know what I mean? Or then you come back after at bat, and he'll be like, all right, like that was good, or like we're trying to show you what to do. So stuff like that definitely will always stick with me.
Did you ever share a meal with Tommy?
I think there was one time in Florida where we kind of had this big dinner and we were there together. I think that's the only meal that we were at, yeah, that was probably when I was like 19. So,
What do you miss the most about playing and being on the field every day?
yeah, I think, I get that question a lot. And I think just being with the team, right? Being in that team environment, having chemistry with those guys, um, you know, trying to you're basically going to battle every day with guys from all around the world, different cultures, different backgrounds. So I think that was pretty special in my time. You build some of those relationships in the minors. Some guys get traded over, from the big leagues to your team. I remember like when Manny Ramirez came over, that was pretty special, and we had a great team that year. So I just think those kind of things, just having those relationships, is probably the biggest thing that you miss.
You've got to have a Manny story. You probably have a lot.
Oh, let's see. Well, Manny, I feel like he always knew more than he would let on. Sometimes like I feel like he knew more English than
Oh, for
people would
sure.
give him credit for. He worked extremely hard. Like, I think he woke up before anybody and and got his work in. Like you didn't see all that kind of stuff. So, I think that's the stuff I remember from Manny. I'm trying to think of my funniest or my best Manny moment. I think just like he'd go into the video room and he's asking guys, all right, what do you think about my swing? Like what do you he was always trying to be the best, right? So he's always trying to figure it out if he got like got out in an at bat or things like that. So I think just constantly seeing him in there and him asking people, he'd ask the chef, hey, what do you think about my swing? So stuff like that.
That's pretty funny. By the way, I remember, Manny had not played in a long time, and when he was starting to play again, he granted me an interview, um, but he was going to answer in Spanish. I could ask the questions in English, but he was going to answer in Spanish. That was like the caveat. I was like, okay, like he definitely knew more English than he let on for sure.
Yeah, that's interesting. I wonder, maybe he didn't want to mess up like a word or two, but I think he definitely could have done it.
Yeah.
Of your Dodger teammates, who do you still keep in touch with the most?
Yeah, there's a few guys, throughout the years that I've kept in touch with. Juan Pierre a little bit, Kenley Jansen. Those were two of the guys that I was kind of closest to. Kenley actually lived with me when he got called up, so he stayed with me for the next, I guess, 3 or 4 months while he was in the big leagues, and so I'd like to say I'm responsible for all his success.
Yeah, absolutely, and hopefully making him a good roommate. Was he a good
Yeah.
roommate?
Yeah, he was good. He was pretty chill. Just nice, easygoing guy from Curacao. Just island vibes. So
What's not to love about island vibes? Does he cook at all? Because that's some good cooking down there.
he did not cook for us. I don't know what's going on. He's, guess got to the big leagues and just thought like just gonna eat out or just eat wherever. But
Isn't there some rookie hazing you could use for that? Like, Kenley, I want some jerk chicken. Like, let's go.
I know. I think after the game, sometimes we were just so hungry, right? Like you're either gonna eat at the field or just grab something after, somewhere after the game. So, I understand that part.
So there's some like legendary stories about when big leaguers go out to eat after the game, and you guys go to some really nice restaurant, whatever city you're in, like credit card roulette. How do you guys figure out who pays that bill?
Well, I remember like me, Juan, Pierre, and Matt Kemp, we would go to Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles probably a couple times a month. Yeah, so that was kind of one of our spots for sure. Credit card roulette, we would play that, and everybody starts sweating.
Did you ever get
And then
stuck?
I feel like the same guy would get picked almost every time.
Yeah, and it's probably not the guy with the biggest contract either.
Yeah, not necessarily, but I do remember a story. Instead of roulette, I don't know if you were there when Brad Ausmus was there. I got to play with him, and he's like, I got the dinner, guys. It was probably 20 of us,
Wow.
and he pulled out his black Amex card, and he just dropped it on the table, and he's like, you hear that, young guys? That's the sound of that's the sound of big money or something.
You're like, okay, go ahead, get this, and by the way,
Yeah.
we'll get another round.
Yeah, he made sure to let it hit the table and make sure everybody heard the sound of that card.
And that was probably when black cards were first a thing, right?
Yeah, for sure. And little be known that, I think later on, he was managing the Angels and the Tigers, and he had such a like dry sense of humor. So like it was definitely real funny that he's the guy that would do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you played in every single ballpark?
The current ballparks? Well, not the Braves' new one.
Right.
I think that's it.
But other than that, you had played in all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was there a favorite, or what makes Dodger Stadium unique?
Yeah, I think, once I left the Dodgers and played for other teams, I realized how special that stadium was. I think when you play there every day, not that you get bored with it, but you're just like, that's your home stadium, right? You get used to it. But once I left, like, you think about the palm trees and the fans and the environment and all that. So Dodger Stadium was definitely my number one place to play. I think followed by Wrigley Field.
Yeah.
I just love the nostalgia at Wrigley Field and the ivy, and just the fans kind of feel like they're right on you too. Yeah, and I also hit a grand slam in the playoffs there, so that kind of helps.
Oh, just casually drop that in.
Yeah, drop the Amex card. That's good.
When Dodger fans see you out in public, what is a moment of your career that they want to talk to you about?
So yeah, I mentioned the grand slam in the playoffs. I think that was big. I had 9 RBIs in one game my first year, or 9 RBIs in one inning. No,
Dude,
I'm sorry.
that's
No,
great.
one game. I was trying to remember. I was like, see, this happens when you get older. You try to remember your stats. No, yeah. So I think those are the two like things that stick out. And I think just our great playoff runs, like the great teams we had with young guys, with like Russell Martin and Ethier and like all the guys that we had, mixed with you know, the older guys that we had was such a good group, and we had some good playoff runs. So I think they were just excited about talking about some of those moments.
Yeah, yeah. And you played for, I mean, I'm a Yankees fan. You were there for Joe Torre, right?
I was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was he pretty tough?
Joe was cool. Like he was pretty laid back, at least when I, was around him, but he was definitely a competitor. He had that fierce look, in his eye of, he wanted you to do things right, play hard, run hard, like do those kind of things. And, I'm trying to remember if there's anything I'm trying to remember him like really, like he wouldn't necessarily raise his voice, but you could tell when he was mad. You know what I mean?
That's very fatherly.
Yeah, it's very, very fatherly. It's actually almost worse, right? You almost feel like you disappointed your father, So, but no, he was awesome. He was awesome to play for. And, like I said, he just expected you to go out there and play hard.
So I know it's pretty intense at the big league level, obviously. Let's talk about Little League. You got your boys playing, you're coaching. How's that going?
I was coaching 2 pony baseball teams, and then now they're doing all-star teams. And it's more drama there than the big leagues. We protested one game. We've had delays in the game, arguing about rules. And I think the dads want to win more than the kids. So it's interesting.
You got other former ball players that are coaching as well, right?
Yeah, so I was a coach with Trevor Plouffe, who played for the Twins and a few other teams. And Jeff Supound's actually the VP of the league. And no, it's fun. I mean, it's definitely entertaining. We were playing in West Hills, and we wanted to. I said like we should get a show of like the dads of West Hills baseball or whatever you want to call it.
It would be good TV.
It would be great TV. It would be. You need a dugout cam. We need a mic. Like we'll be good. It's hilarious.
When you see your boys on the field, though, it's got to be pretty special for you to see them playing the game that you love so much.
Yeah, it was one of those things where I didn't, for them, I never like pushed them to go out there and play. But like now that they want to play, it's like, all right, well, you're gonna, let's work hard at it. Let's be the best that we can be at it. And they enjoy that aspect of it. They've gotten to an age now where they're asking me to go out and play. And I'm like, all right, we just got done. Like they want to play after the game, and stuff like that. So, and they want to learn, which is great. Like they want to be better, and they're not just out there, trying to, I guess, stay the same. Like they really do want to get better. They're asking me questions. So, I appreciate that.
How old are they?
They're 7 and 5.
Yeah, they're still little.
Yeah, so they're enjoying it though. They're they come up with little chant songs with their teammates or little dances that they think are good. So it's funny.
I know we talked about the grand slam in the playoffs and the 9 RBI game. And do you save the bat and the ball and memorabilia from your career? Is there any certain piece that's extremely special to you?
Yeah, I wasn't really a big memorabilia guy. I collected some memorabilia from older players. When I was younger, I had like a bat rack that I got signed from some guys.
Who are some guys? Anyone good on there?
Yeah, I think got some good. I had Jeter and David Ortiz.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to get the top guys on there for sure.
But you didn't really collect stuff over the years, because that's kind of a thing that guys would do, right? You send stuff between the clubhouses.
I know. Actually, I wish I would have more. I think I was just so focused on the day-to-day operations of trying to stay in the big leagues, of like get my work in and like just do all those things where I didn't really, you know, think forward too much of like, oh wait, I need to maybe gather a few things before I'm done. So, but yeah, I mean, there's still, jerseys. I definitely collected a lot of my jerseys. What else? Like balls. I got some balls too, like 500 double, I think, or 500th RBI, 1000th hit, stuff like that.
I want to ask you about also just a treasure in Los Angeles, Vin Scully, and having his voice be the narrating soundtrack of your time with the Dodgers. Not everybody gets to have that either. That's
Right.
a
Yeah.
special thing when you're in LA.
Right. Yeah. I didn't know how special that was until I got drafted, by the Dodgers. And I think there were times where I wasn't playing or I'd, I don't know, go down in the tunnel and you would hear him calling our games. And, it was just it was just such a calm feeling, right? For a baseball game. So soothing. And I understand why he's a legend here. Um, Obviously, I think even in Brooklyn, right? I think he even called some games in Brooklyn. So, yeah, I mean, he's definitely someone that is always going to stick out to me. I should have got something from him for memorabilia for sure. So I think I could. Jamie, you can make that happen, right?
Yeah, I'll try. I'll work on that for you. Let me call Vin when we hang up this with this interview.
Okay, appreciate it. Oh, and I've seen people even with Vin Scully tattoos. Like he's huge. It was definitely meant so much to the community out here. So who knows? Maybe he can like come back for a game or two one day and surprise
Yeah.
everyone.
I was glad that he got to see them win the World Series last year too, and like you
Yeah.
said with Tommy, also that was special.
Mhm.
When I know you've come into the studio, you've come to the studio with us, and you've done some broadcasting with us. Are you still dabbling in broadcasting? Is that something you're still pursuing?
Yeah, I'm still working on that a little bit. I've also been working as a sports agent with this company called Vayner Baseball.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. So it used to be called the Legacy Agency, and I don't know if you know, it's got Gary Vaynerchuk, but he basically is the owner of the agency. So it's been fun. Justin Turner is our big client. You know, so
That's cool. Where
shout out to
you're like,
JT.
hey guys, bring me on board. I've got some connections with some guys with the Dodgers. So I'll bring JT on board.
Well, I'll granted they had him before I got there, but they're keeping him there because of me. So
Yeah. Well, that's awesome, and I'll tell you what. I mean, I'm glad to. I didn't know that you were doing the agent stuff, and I think that's awesome. I think obviously you know the game and the business side of the game, and I could see you really excelling there. But I hope that you'll still join us every now and then when we can have you in, because it's always such a blast when you're in the studio with us.
yeah, no, it'd be great to come down again. Obviously the Dodgers are gonna, be right there, and we'll see where they're at come that playoff push.
Did you have time to think back about any player that took you under their wing or had a positive influence?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think I go back to Juan Pierre. I think Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles, right? Like
Some
the
good
times we had.
conversations over the chicken and
Yeah,
waffles.
yeah. He was kind of like an older brother, and just I think the way he even went about his business, like he wasn't, the loudest guy in the locker room or anything like that, but just the hard work that he would put in. He wasn't the strongest guy on the field, or he didn't have the best arm or anything like that. So, and he knew that about himself, but he could make such an impact in the game. And I think I always noticed that. And he was such a smart player, whether it was putting a bunt down or throwing it to the right guy or whatever it was. So yeah, I mean, I think spending time with him a few years definitely impacted my career there.
Yeah, that's awesome. I really liked him too. He was always a good dude, easy to
Yeah.
interview and interact with. Do you ever get mistaken for someone else? Like, does anyone ever see you and think that you're a different ball player
Oh, different ball player.
or a different athlete?
I think there was a basketball player somebody thought I was, maybe Jim Murray from the Nuggets or something.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Or is it another guy from the Nuggets? I think they have like two guys that are, I don't know. It was one of those guys.
And then do you play it off? Or are you like, yeah, man, we lost the game last night in Portland, but it's gonna be okay. Like,
What did I do? I think I was kind of like, oh, I don't know what did he say? What did I say? I said like, oh, it was a tough one or something like that, like tough game, rough game, yeah, something like that. But yeah, you gotta have fun with them, especially if yeah, I didn't get to sign as that guy. That would have been
Yeah,
fun.
that would have been
But no,
fun.
actually, but then I would probably sign my own name and put like "Go Dodgers" or something.
Oh, yes, that would be perfect. Growing up, did you want to be a baseball player?
Yeah, yeah, I did. I think I don't know what age it was, probably around 5 or so. But I remember in school, like we would write like what we want to be, and I remember writing that down. Um, and I just kind of felt like that's what I was gonna be. You know what I mean? Like there was no other option. Like that's how my brain was working at the time, I guess. Like, I mean, I did well in school and all that, but I just felt like, oh no, this is what you're supposed to do. Like, just keep working at it.
Yeah, and then you made it happen. When you were, growing up in Texas, did you have any mentors?
I would say my high school coach was really influential. His son actually is Matt Carpenter for the Cardinals. So he's having a great career, and I think just the way he went about his business too. Like he had kind of that blue collar mentality. Very like, all right, we're gonna show up on time. We're gonna beat every team that's in our district because that's who we are. We're gonna outwork everybody. He was raking the field at 1 in the morning or whatever it was. Like he was baseball 24/7. So that was definitely a good example for me to see growing up.